Christian, don't blame
No,
me.
no, no, no.
All right, so you ready?
Uh,
Well, greetings and salutations to you one and all. I'm Jeffrey Darty, the Christian whistleblower, and if it's Sunday, you know who this guy is. This is R. Wayne Steiger of the R. Wayne Steiger channel, the Steiger Perspective on Artist First Network.
Yes. Thank you,
Excellent.
sir.
And
Thank you,
my
sir.
good friend, R. Wayne Steiger. Welcome to Not Your Normal Sunday Show. Wayne, how you doing, buddy?
Jeffrey, doing wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And yourself?
Like you just said, if I was any better, I would be guilty.
Best line of the movie Wall Street. And they had a couple.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah, it was. Greed. Greed is
Greed is
good.
good, yeah.
Yeah. You know?
And in a way, greed is good if you think about greed driving you. If you think about replace greed for passion, maybe.
Yeah.
And greed is good.
I mean, greed drives a lot of things. Love. If you love that woman, you meet her and you're saying, that is the love of my life. Well, you could say that greed's going to overtake it. No one else gets her.
That's true.
Yeah.
So greed might be good. Gordon Gekko might be right.
The immortal words, George Gekko.
Yeah. So is Gordon Gekko president of the United States right now?
Boy, that's an interesting metaphor.
It is, isn't it?
It is. I can actually see that connection.
Yeah.
Although I think Michael Douglas is better looking.
Yeah, Michael Douglas had better hair.
Yeah, he really did. He had that. Well, listen, he had that great birthmark.
He had that big, and that perfect chin and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
You said Franklin Graham was saying some stuff the other day that I missed.
Oh yeah. Well, apparently, if you read, he was on Todd Stern radio show, and apparently many of the, as he calls them, Christian influencers are renouncing their faith.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just found out the founder of Hillsong, quote unquote, my faith in Christianity is on very shaky ground. That's a direct quote.
Well, I know the guy that did the big book about not dating gave up, recanted his faith.
Yeah, the purity thing, right?
Yeah, about the Kiss Dating Goodbye was the name of the book.
Okay, and so Graham comes out and says, "Woe unto you," and I'm listening and I'm going, well, where's this God of love? Because what I'm hearing here, I'm going to make you a deal you can't refuse, that kind of a situation, and condemning this. And, and I'm beginning to think the state of Christianity, like over in England, now they're turning their churches into mini putt-putt golfs. They have 4-story slides to bring people in. Yeah, I mean, is that what we're seeing here?
Well, I guess they want to add a little fun to the fear and guilt control matrix, Wayne.
Yeah, come on in,
I remember when they started putting Starbucks in the churches and all that. I thought we were going to hell then, but
yeah, and I think
that was just the beginning.
One guy wrote, he said what did he say? The adults have abandoned their position as leaders of the faith and are relying on the youth and youth song ministers to deliver the word. And they said, we're not qualified. And I thought to myself, well, neither are the adults.
That's right.
I mean, you would know that better than anyone.
Well, I can't see another institution I'd be happier to watch it fall in the church, I got to tell you.
And then you see the antithesis of this up in, I think it's Minnesota, Michigan, where the Satanists now are going to have their first public ceremony. And I
wish I'd have known about that. I'm up here in that area. I could have stayed around and checked it out. That'd make a hell of a live stream.
Oh, wouldn't it though? I mean, now it may be. Check it out. Check it out. You'll see it. Just Google it. You'll get it.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, these are two groups that they think that they're diametrically opposed, but they're actually the same thing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, really, in the Church of Satan basically just copies everything that the Christian church does and kind of reverses it.
Yeah.
They're the as above and so below, aren't they?
I believe that is. And so let's think about this. Now, if the book that everyone thinks is the book is not really the book, but then you have the group that reversed the book, then their book would be the book.
Isn't that true? Interesting.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was following the breadcrumbs.
Interesting. So if the Bible is reverse, upside down, and backward, then maybe the Satanic Bible, which they say is reverse, upside down, backwards, might contain the truth.
You think?
Wow, I'm gonna have to look at that. I'm gonna have to take a look at the Satanic Bible.
Yeah, yeah. Now, do you have something burning in your place?
No, why?
You got lots of orbs around you, buddy.
Well, I'm in a hotel room here in Hudson, Wisconsin, so I don't know what's floating around in here. I hate to think, Wayne.
Well, you went to the haunted forest. You may have brought some,
We might have brought some creepy crawlies back.
what we used to call the cooties. Cooties, remember that?
Although we did do a nice cleansing before we left, so a ritual. We did a lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. So
I'm telling you, brother, you got. Hey, everyone in the chat room, check this out. Yeah, Miss Space Cat, you see it as well. There are orbs around you, brother.
I think it might be dust, but we'll who knows? It might be orbs.
If you got that kind of dust there, you need to wear a mask.
Yeah, okay. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, we had a lot of cool stuff go on this weekend.
You play this back, and we're at, I don't know where we are.
I can see a few of them flopping by as I look.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
They don't look malevolent, do they?
I have come kind to, we're all on this life path journey. Each of us have our own. I keep on thinking about this paradigm that we're so indoctrinated with, this good, evil, perpetual paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that doesn't make any sense. Because if you say you worship a God or believe in a God that is the creator, the originator of all things, what that is implying is that this God that controls this paradigm is finite. Because an infinite God of love would not create a spirit, an energy being, and condemn them for all infinity.
No.
He would allow, she would allow, it would allow a process of redemption. Boy, I tell you what, Jeff, this is really interesting around you. If you should have your spirit box going.
Well, Rocky will be up here pretty soon. We should do that. And another thing about this God, Wayne, when you think about it, and I didn't really think about this that much when I was a preacher because it was just normal, but every church service you've ever been in, there's been at least one offering and a lot of times two or three, right?
Yeah.
And, the preacher works for the church works for God. God made and owns all things, but yet he's always broke. He always needs money. I mean, he parted the Red Sea, right?
So they say.
Turned wine into water, then walked on it, but can't manage a checkbook for nothing. So I just don't get it.
and apparently it's a perpetual tax. I wonder if this tax exists over in the next world too. I mean, 10%? It's like, well, can we negotiate? No, this is a notification, not a negotiation.
That's right. 10%, man.
Think about that.
Now we'd be happy if the government would just take 10%.
Wouldn't we, though?
Although I'm going to Puerto Rico in November, and Puerto Rico's made a deal for anyone that has a business, they can come down to Puerto Rico and be on a 5% tax rate for life. 5%, Wayne. You look good in a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, that would be in Hawaii, not Puerto Rico.
Well, a Hawaiian shirt in Puerto Rico, bro.
Yeah. They got to get their act together down there. The bad guys are running the place, and that's not good.
Yeah, but it's cheap.
Yeah. Well, you can go down. Where is it in Mexico? Pondervilla? Yeah. For $1,000 a month.
I'm convinced that the U.S. media has us so indoctrinated that Israel, that Mexico is so dangerous and so horrible and so awful because they're afraid we'll look down there and say, oh, those guys got it good and I can live down there for $1,500 a month. Let's go.
At the beach, no less, in a nice villa.
Man. Exactly.
Yeah.
That would be a villa, Wayne.
Excuse me. That's right. I have a friend.
I think they're trying to make Mexico look very scary when I don't think Mexico is scary at all. Some parts, of course, along the border, you probably don't want to be there, but
Yeah, but when we wouldn't want to, deserts don't turn me on. I mean,
yeah.
beaches, yeah, tropical. Nancy Addison is in Costa Rica. I know other people are in Costa Rica.
I've looked hard at Mexico a couple of times. There's a couple cities down there that I really seriously considered. I looked at Ecuador pretty hard for a time. And I
Yeah,
could live in Merida, Mexico, and be closer to Florida than I am in Kansas.
true. Very
So
true.
interesting
Very true.
stuff. A lot of
Yeah,
Americans, says Tracy Dyer, live in Mexico, and that's true.
yeah, yeah. Getting away from the news media machine up here wouldn't be bad either. You
It
might
wouldn't.
actually know what's going on.
I wonder if they got good internet down there.
Oh, I think they have it everywhere. Just So, what do you think about this, Graham? Warning all of these Christian leaders that are jumping ship.
I think it's perfectly in character. He's trying to, go back to the fear and guilt matrix, trying to scare everybody. You're going to go to hell.
Yeah,
You're going to be condemned. And I'm sure he brought up, if you're a leader and to go back, you face twice the punishment, or blah blah blah. So they got to go back to that the old cards of fear, guilt, and control. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And I just wonder how long it takes before they go the way of government. Government gets people on film and compromising positions, usually to do with children. And we know that both the Roman Protestants and the Roman Catholics are hip deep in that too. I didn't mean
I
to
think they
use that.
started it,
I
but
didn't mean to use that term, but it won't be long before they start pulling out the blackmail on leaders that want to leave the church either.
I think it's already happening.
Yep.
I tell you, that is so interesting. When you play this back, I'm going to look back on this one. I'm going to count them. They're everywhere.
Well, I don't sense any malevolence, so they must be good
Oh,
ones.
I think that this is a good sign.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
we kicked off on Thursday night with a 2-hour live stream, and we did a little comedy, and we had a 2-hour podcast at the Second Street Depot Bar and Grill in Hastings, Minnesota. Had a good crowd, 40, 50 people, which was really nice because we didn't advertise it much at all. And then we went out and checked out a haunted forest. We checked out a city that was haunted. We checked out a house that was haunted. Got a lot of great EVPs, and were able to help some spirits. So it's been a really interesting. We went to some Indian mounds yesterday, so it's been a great trip. It's well worth the drive up here to Minnesota.
excellent, excellent. Again, we get back into
Siri
this
is
whole.
recording everything I'm saying there for some reason.
Um,
Did I say Siri or something that sounded like Siri?
I didn't hear it. Not on this end. So, when we talk about the spirits, technically we are already them. They are us, and we are them.
We were asking the question, is the spirit realm the real world and we're the paranormal?
And what was your response?
We're like, ooh, I mean, are they over there with people boxes? Here, let's see if we can get some people to manifest.
I did a podcast on my channel. It says, "Are you considered dead on the other side of the living?"
Yeah, I saw that.
And I have become quite
Yes,
intrigued
we did go to Mounds Park, Tracy.
with. I tell you, I never looked at spiritism in a way that I'm seeing it now. We're reading through this book, and it's quite revealing as to what the superior spirits are saying. And it's brought me to a whole different way of thinking, Jeffrey, about the demonic spirits, the evil spirits, the good spirits, the benevolent spirits. I used to look at that type of thinking in a abstract, spooky way, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you don't want to go there. But then I thought, well, now, wait a minute. I'm going to be there anyway. Why shouldn't I start beginning to learn that way now? Still enjoy life. I mean, I'm digging it, all the things we get to do here, but that's my eventual destination.
That's a good point. You might as well start to learn the language, right?
Wow, that's exactly it. We should start learning how to pack. I mean, if you're going to go on a safari, you're going to want to study it. You're going to want to learn what the nature is there, the whole bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it seems like we're getting a new resurgence and interest in the paranormal and interest in conspiracy and things like that. I mean, mainstream people starting to add that to their mix. I mean, I don't know if it's just because it's popular or because there's some, genuine, interest in it. People like Chris Jericho and
Hmm.
Joe Rogan and Sam Tripoli starting to, make that a part of their deal. Is that just interest? Is that just for numbers, or is it actually legitimate?
I think it's very legitimate.
Yeah, I know for sure in the case of Jericho and Tripoli, it is.
Yeah. I'm starting to reach out, and I'm finding it's not that difficult. The thing that I did find this week, I learned spirits have emotion. I had an entity actually begin to manifest, and it was just a very quick mist kind of a thing that came back, and I flippantly said, "Is that the best you can do?"
Ooh.
And when I went into meditating, and there I distinctly heard from my spirit guide, they said, "You insulted them."
Yeah. It takes tremendous energy, that, to
Yes,
manifest.
yes,
And what they
yeah.
did was pretty remarkable. And you're like, is that all you got?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
And
funny.
it hurt that particular spirit's feeling, and I had to apologize. I had to repent to them. I mean, I didn't
Interesting.
mean to hurt their feelings. I didn't realize it. So it tells me, because what I heard is that you're going to have your feelings over there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not the part of the five physical senses that you may be deprived of, but you're still going to have feelings.
So one of your guides told you hurt their feelings, hurt that
Mhm.
other
I
entity's feelings,
heard it
huh?
distinctly. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
had to do that. So at the forest, what did you find there? You picked up something that obviously that the spirit realm likes. So,
Well, at the forest, we picked up basically one woman that apparently had been raped out there, so that was a bad situation, and several children and a guy. And what we really saw more than anything else is there's 3 or 4 ruins out there, and we saw evidence of a lot of sloppy magic, for lack of a better term. People going out there, not knowing what they're doing, insufficient training, silliness and curiosity, and going out there trying to perform rituals and trying to do things, and succeeding in creating a bunch of spiritual havoc out there. So there was just very spiritually chaotic, and you get things trapped, you get things loosed. And that's why Travis and I felt it was very, very important to do a banishing there before we left and kind of get everything reset and cleared away. So just a word to the wise: dabbling is a little dabble do you is not the way you want to do it in magic, folks.
when you were talking, I got the image. It's like someone standing with a paint can down in the middle of Times Square and throwing this paint can everywhere, thinking, "Oh, isn't this cool?" Never realizing the collateral damage that's being done in and around them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I found out too, that's the first time since I've been thinking about and working and learning more about actual ritual magic, how helpful it can be in paranormal investigation. It gives
I
you
agree.
many more tools.
I agree. I agree. It exists. It's real. And I,
Absolutely.
and I don't know, there has been a change. I think in the public's eye, people are more curious, but again, there's no leadership. There's no what I would call recognized teachers that can allow the general public to come in a forum other than the channels like this.
There's few, you're right, few and far between.
Yeah. Um, I'll just tell you, I am really thinking about starting a consulting business and helping people transcend death.
That's a great idea.
Um, it's nothing to be afraid of, but here is the point that you've really brought out. There is a vacuum of knowledge here, and that could be very troublesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially if you get to the end of your life and there's still that vacuum, because then you're subject to the whims and desires and leading and guiding and deception of other entities and beings rather than being able to pick and choose of your own volition where you want to go, what you want to do,
And
what you want to be, so to speak.
and that leads us to the fact that there's no teachers out there actually teaching people, I think, the right way of how to deal with the spirit realm. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, think about what the paranormal is about right now. Paranormal running around trying to get an EVP, trying to get an apparition. It's mainly entertainment and personality based.
yeah,
What's the conspiracy realm about now? I mean, you got your disaster guys, you know, the Planet X, the pole shift guys, and then you've got the people that are all about politics. But where are the Manly P. Halls and the great teachers of eternal esoteric truth these days?
they're not here. I
They're
mean, I
not.
consider myself one. You, there, I would say Rex in but less than I would say a handful that I
Yeah, we
would.
need to probably need to be focusing on that much more.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And that was my point, is that you've got people now dabbling in areas, and I contend that there is a number that's unlimited in the spirit realm. And you got human energy beings opening these portals, these vortexes, and having no idea, like you said, how to close them and how to banish them.
Or just sloppy, don't close them when they leave. They don't close their circle. They just leave things going. And yeah, it creates a mess. And I think it creates
It does.
chaos and confusion. And I mean, this world is bad enough on its own. We don't, and that's just what bleeds over here. What do we allow to bleed over there? God, that's a horrible thought.
Yeah. And one of the things in the book that we're reading on my channel is that Earth is not the only planet. There are many, many, many others out there with other spirit beings and other
Yeah.
degrees of development, and some less.
It's funny when Travis and I were doing the banishing ritual. As soon as we started it, Rocky was standing outside the building, and he got it on an EVP. He said he heard a long screeching scream. So something that was malevolent there. We did chase it out. That's why we did the ritual. But Rocky got it, and he said it was a very long, distinct, unmistakable scream. And that's what we were there for. So that's exactly what the desired result.
So where do you see us going? I mean, I think this is how I see it. I see that there was the bridge for the metaphysical was for those who were on the spiritual path of enlightenment, improvement. We came into metaphysics, and it got hijacked, and now here we are. In the spirit realm, nothing reverts. It just continues to move forward or become stationary, but never reversed. I think we're moving into something.
How do you mean?
Well, if you look back 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 years ago, sapiens, sapiens, were beginning to dominate the planet. There may have been some Neanderthals or some of the other geniuses of our species, but we were taking over.
Mm-hmm.
And I contend that as the Earth continues to travel through space, energy, radiation, background, I believe that as I'm understanding the spirit realm, Earth has transformed itself as well. Earth has, we see the Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit trilogy. It painted a time of Middle Earth when not only were there human beings, that there were many other spirit beings that manifested in physical form. And then we came out of that age. It says that we're moving into the age of Aquarius, right? That we have moved into what some would consider a new epoch. I wonder if the Earth is not going to represent the change and transform as well.
I would think it would. I really would.
That's what I was
would
meaning
expect
by
it
that.
to 100%.
Yeah.
I definitely would expect it to. So just off the cuff, a yes or no is well, one word answer: is Epstein alive or dead?
I think he's plenty alive.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
He's living with Elvis.
Yeah, him and Elvis are sharing. Well, I don't know if they put Elvis in a cell.
I don't know.
I don't think Jeffrey's living anywhere nice and comfy.
Oh, no.
I think he the best he can hope for is safe.
They're not that merciful. I mean, death is a release, right?
Yeah, but I literally don't think he's dead. I think that they have just spirited him off somewhere and extracting information from him. And we'll keep you safe in exchange for you giving us information.
You see, and I think that's indicative of this change. This power elite who's ever been here, and they've been here a while, I contend, I think they're scared.
Oh yeah,
I'll be
the
candid
elites
with you.
are terrified. They really are, because they can see it coming unraveled right before them. And there's a hunger for it being unraveled. And now somebody's realized, if you can get enough of these people excited that are sick of this crap, all of a sudden you've got a winning coalition. And it's going to be guys, that's what we need to be careful of. Here's a little prophecy maybe. There'll be politicians that are willing to talk the talk just to get us to vote for them. So we have to make sure that they are people that walk the walk and not just talk the talk.
I think we'll become strong enough that if we're in their presence, that lying spirit, that's what I call it, won't be able to manifest itself.
I agree. I agree.
Um,
I was just thinking too, with Donald Trump, I've never seen I don't think a president's ever done these rallies like Trump continues to do, these campaign rallies while he's president. Now, is it just because he's super egotistical and likes the attention, or does he understand the power of energy and of manifestation and of combined intention? He keeps doing these things, and he seems impervious to the perils of the office that most other presidents. They look ashen, they look drawn, they look like they're tired, and he looks like he's thriving. And he's out there every 2-3 months getting a massive injection of positive, beautiful energy, 100% supportive. So maybe he's smarter than we think he is.
Maybe he knows something more. I just
Yeah.
read an article that the evangelicals are all up in arms about him because
He said, "God damn, we're gonna blow the goddamn hell out of them."
and
Out of ISIS.
And I'm thinking, well, come on. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, the guy, again, here we go back to Wall Street. What did Gecko tell Bud Fox, when Lord, he was trying to battle. You remember the scene, and he says, well, he's right. He says, if you're going to piss in the weeds with the big boys, you got to have the staying power.
Yeah, you do.
And I think, listen, I got an email today from a very dear Christian that they now are convinced that Trump's going to turn on them, and basically he's going to usher in their demise and the eventual rapture and the end of the world.
Oh my.
That's what's going around.
That's crazy.
And I thought to myself, how can you... Yeah, I mean, that I don't see happening. I don't buy into it.
He could turn on the evangelicals, although it won't be before 2020 because he needs that voting block. But I don't think he's any more enamored with Christian extremists than he is with Muslim extremists.
I think the man is just basically kind of neutral. I mean, but you mentioned something. He knows the power of manifestation.
He does. There's no doubt about it.
He built the guy's been bankrupt 2-3 times, and has always come out on top, not beneath, has always been the head, not the tail, and has always been above and continues.
Who did I hear say, somebody made a great statement, and I can't remember the guy's name. He's always on Alex Jones. He's a talking head of Summer Now, but he says, Trump always looks like he's going to lose until right before he wins.
Listen, I've studied enough magic, whether you want to call it chaos magic, ritual magic. I got a sense that this guy, every time you get around him and every time you're involved, I mean, listen, the economic indicators this week positively pointed to a deep recession.
Yeah.
But the problem is this: you've got record employment, record wages, low interest rates. These are all, and every time I think about Trump, I'm going, this guy he's the opposite. I mean,
how do you mean?
Well, economics are pretty well standard. Greenspan, I studied for decades. He's an interesting guy. And there is a natural cyclical curve in what we call modern day economics.
Right.
What Trump has been able to do is just do the invert.
Mm.
It's his signature. He wasn't supposed to win the election. He wasn't supposed to win the elite field for the candidacy. Every time you get this guy, and I keep on thinking, is someone using, or has he employed someone that is a powerful, powerful wizard?
Or is he himself one? That's kind
Oh,
of my
good
question.
point.
Because that whole 4th of July thing was a ritual. And there's many people that believe he banished many dark entities from the D.C. area, Washington, D.C., and that China Lake was a military and a spiritual cleansing. And it wasn't just earthquakes, ladies and gentlemen. That was blowing up and clearing out deep left dark state entities from China Lake.
Could the United States of America have elected a wizard for the president, and his enemies, though they mount their rage against him, they are weakened in their venom upon him?
Yep.
Everything that this man does, and those who speak against him, I don't think it's too well for them. They seem to go into chaos.
See, here's the thing, Wayne. I think he understands transmutation. When you have all these stupid witches saying, we're going to cast spells against Donald Trump, and the left hates Donald Trump, and the right hates Donald Trump, and he knows how to take that hate, which is just energy. He knows how to take it, blow the intention off of it, and then transmute it into positive energy that he can use.
Melania,
yeah, she's from the old country, you know.
she is.
I just loved him with, and these are the reasons why. I know that he's not great, but here's the reasons I like him. That whole Fredo Cuomo thing, stupid Chris Cuomo. And somebody asked him about it, and he says, oh, well, I thought Chris was out of control, and he starts calling him Fredo, which is awesome. But then he says, Fredo was all upset about, I'm glad he didn't have a weapon because he was out of control. And then he says, apparently Fredo's fists aren't weapons because he talked about using them a lot, but he never did. I love that stuff.
I'm singing Al Pacino. Welcome to my little friend.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if enough people remember that, Wayne, because I got a line in my stand-up that I think is hilarious that has that, but it just gets some laughter, not the uproarious laughter that I was seeing in my mind.
They have to see that scene.
So I don't know if they remember.
Probably
say hello to my little friend. I don't know if they do or not.
But
maybe I'm dating myself, Wayne. I need to go to something new and younger.
No. Stay genuine. It's who you are, and you carry those memories, and you make them alive when you talk about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you do. You know,
I mean, that's classic. Who doesn't know? Remember Tony? Was it Tony Montana?
Yes. And again, I got The Godfather 2 going in.
How you, man? Oh, speaking of The Godfather, man, I went yesterday. Rocky Stucci, the emotional meatball, took me to I had my first authentic Italian pizza. And man, I can never eat pizza again, Wayne, unless it's real authentic pizza. It was so good. The pepperoni was perfect. The cheese was amazing. The bread was amazing. The sauce was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, first time I've ever had authentic, real Italian pizza.
I know the feeling.
That's right. I said Italian.
Italian. Yeah. It brings back.
I was going to say this is the first time I've ever eaten Italian, but that might not be true.
I mean, there's plenty of. In Philly, Boston, New York. There's a number of great little restaurants that I've gone to. That, yeah.
This one was in St. Paul, and I can't remember the name of it, but I wish I could. Maybe Rocky, if he's in the chat room, he'll put the name in. I'll give him a good
what's that
shout out. They were really good. It wasn't Gambino's because we were too far from Gambino's. It was another place. But Rocky says Gambino's are excellent as well.
When I lived in St. Louis, there was a great restaurant. Jimmy, who was the manager for the Dodgers?
Tommy Lasorda.
Bommaritos.
Oh, nice.
The place
was Casetas. That's where we went.
And again, rich tradition. St. Louis down there on the hill, I'll take they're as authentic as Italian as anyone I've ever met.
Yeah, it was
Mm.
real, and they had a nice grocery store in there. And what else did I have? Actual cannoli, which was much better than the ones at Publix in Florida. Let me just say that.
My blue heaven, Steve Martin. Don't say that like that. You'll hurt my ears.
And we even had some gelato.
Yes, yes,
So
yes,
it
yes.
was a really good day.
Well, I'm glad you had it. So, disclosure. Is Trump ushering in the final disclosure that we're not alone?
Yeah, I think he is, and I'll make a prediction. Trump will get reelected, and before Trump's second term is out, there will be a disclosure to a great degree, and we'll also have disclosure on Barack Obama not being born in the United States. He's going to completely disclose and blow that open, and there's going to be great change in the Federal Reserve, the intelligence agencies, CIA, IRS, or CIA, NSA, and there's one other thing I'm trying to remember because I got kind of a download that all this was going to happen. Oh, and the income tax system. So
Wow.
there's great change coming in. The next 5 years are going to be the most exciting 5 years in several centuries to be alive.
What do you see Russia and China? I mean, it's dicey out there now. I mean, now a lot of people think that Trump is going to lead us into a war against Iran. And
I
that
don't see it happening. No. And I think you're going to see Russia, China, and the U.S. working together because there's a way that remember, it's the art of the deal. And Trump Trump already has the ear of Putin, and he has the ear of, I forget the Chinese president's, what his name is, but what's his name?
Zing.
They all three like each other. They all three have respect for each other. I think you're going to see a time of prosperity, and Trump's already said it. Let's make Russia great again. Let's make China great again. Let's make America great again. It's going to be mutual prosperity.
So in all these circles, whether it's the Planet X, the end of the world for the Christians, the Muslims, whoever, I never hear an alternative that what happens if the immortal words of Ronald Reagan before the UN in 1986 says, what if mankind came under attack? We never hear that the alternative is that what would happen if all the major threes, like you just said, came together?
That's really interesting, isn't it? That's really interesting.
Talk about a one world government.
And and why would let's go even more conspiratorial. All of the fear and guilt control matrix of religion, of Christianity, has been telling us, be afraid of the one world government. The one world government's bad. The one world government's horrible. The one world government is the end. What if it's exactly the opposite? If Russia, China, US get together and actually be friendly. Now, I don't think Trump's going to cede American sovereignty, but what if the three of us do work together as one for the benefit of all of those billions of people? Would that be a bad thing?
Well, Jeff, I have a neighbor to the left and I have a neighbor to the right.
We could make this freaking church irrelevant.
And I still have my sovereignty.
Exactly.
Think about this. You have the major three come together, form a pact together, exchanging of technology, agricultural resources. This begins to unite humanity. This could be a major game changer.
What if the U.S., Russia, and China agreed to what if they call themselves I don't know, what's a nice word? The Three Amigos.
Yeah.
So they decided to be the Three Amigos, and they could reduce nuclear forces, have just one nuclear force for the three of them, so they could reduce all of the redundancy and turn those swords into plowshares, and they could remove all of these tariffs and these things about going against each other. If they could work together as one, or at least in mutual cooperation and mutual benefit, wow, they could be the Three Amigos.
It would be a trinity.
Oh, it would be a trinity, wouldn't it?
It would be a trinity.
Of course, Chinese communism is the monkey wrench in the works, but we'll see.
Yeah, but you know what? Communism is a recently new idea. I mean, it really
It
is.
is.
And actually, when you look at China in its history, it would be more conducive to a relationship like this.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in Hong Kong.
It will be. And I think Russia's having second thoughts. That nuclear missile that blew up, that nuke,
Yeah.
that was a tactical nuke. I mean, I still got the video. I recorded it. The guy captured it. I mean, if you want to know what a battlefield nuke looks like, go look at that video. Wow, this is a whole new paradigm shift, Jeff.
It is. And why do you think the Democrats during the election, it's the Russians, it's the Russians, it's the Russians. They're trying to demonize the Russians. They're trying to demonize China. And all Trump wants to do is talk nice about Russia and China. He's no dummy.
Gary said it's a new triad. It's exactly what it would be. It would be
Yeah.
a triad of a point virtually couldn't be crushed.
Now, this is kind of scary. What if they all three went on the gold standard?
Well, they has to. Okay, let's listen.
Ooh. I've always thought Trump was going to do something near miraculous and unforeseen with the whole debt. What if I mean, it's one thing if the U.S. says we're absolving debt, but what if the U.S., China, and Russia all said, hey, we're reforming this thing? What are you going to do about it? We're right here.
That would be the Trinity. I mean,
Yeah.
they could literally reset the complete world standard. I mean, you're talking about something, well, we may not should be talking about that. I can imagine, because I know they listen in on us. This could be a major, major shift yeah, you're right. Each China, Russia, United States, they all have their sovereignty, but unified.
Yeah.
The world, listen, I keep on saying on my radio show, the Steiger Perspective, that folks, we're being set up. Either we're being set up or they've got another plan, because this debt Congress is spending, they're already $1 trillion almost in additional debt.
Yeah, there's no way to pay it off.
No. It
And
can't.
at the end of the day, it's not real debt anyway, right? It's just funny money.
It's debt to ourselves primarily.
Yeah, or it's debt created by the Fed.
Well, you said that the Fed, and that you got in the download, that there would be a major change. They need to be eliminated.
There's going to be a huge, and they may well be eliminating the Fed. And can you imagine if Trump and Putin is it Xi? Is that his name? Trump,
I think
and
it is.
Putin and Xi
Yeah.
all said, "Hey, look, boom, here's what we're doing." Nobody could say anything. All they could say is, "Okay." I mean, who's going to go up against Russia, China, and the U.S. combined? Nobody.
Nobody.
Not even Israel.
So let's go to the other side of that. When I look at potentially, let's say that there is a potential extraterrestrial threat. And the option would only be is that if we fight them alone independently, we all lose.
Yeah, could you imagine a combined force of Russia, China, and the U.S.?
Mm-hmm.
That is as formidable as we could get.
I don't think the world's ever seen anything like that.
No.
Wow.
Bush is dead.
Say, what's that?
Somebody's talking about Bush is a Nazi. I'm like, Bush is dead.
What? Are you
Now, the two Bushes left. One's a dummy and one's low energy, so I'm not too worried about them.
I ain't worried about that. That dynasty is going to go the same way as the Clintons. I mean,
Yeah.
They got to clean them out. That's the old guard.
That's the old royal family in the U.S., huh?
It really is. And
The
people
elites.
forget what Johnson said. You know what Johnson said? It's in recorded, folks. And I won't use his language, but what he told, who was the guy? Thurman. Yeah, the old dude that just.
Strom Thurmond.
Yep. And Byrd. They were both there. He says, you get this new deal done, and I'll give you the blanks. He says, for the next 20 generations, they'll vote Democrat.
Yeah.
No one likes to think that and remember that, but that is that type of old school thinking, segregating us, dividing us, and pitting us against one another. And I see Trump coming in and saying, hey, what's with the hate? Like you said, he transmutes it.
He does.
This is very interesting.
It is. It's fabulous. And he's broken the power of the mainstream media. And he hasn't shaken the trust of the people that have drank the Kool-Aid. But I mean, I think the majority of people now, when they think about CNN, NBC, CBS, Fox, the first thing they think is fake news. And that's a great victory right there.
It is. Well, CNN's become the clown network, and
Yeah.
it's
Hey
lost all
guys, you got to
credibility.
remember, I hear a lot of people, oh, Sean Hannity, Sean Hannity, Sean Hannity. Remember, here's all you need to know about Sean Hannity. He came out and defended Fredo and said, oh, it was terrible. He shouldn't have been. No, Sean Hannity is a clown like the rest of them. And if he takes issue with that, I'd love to debate him live on his show.
We know who owns the media.
Yeah.
And a talking head is a talking head. And this is why I don't like, with Alex Jones and Hannity and Ingram and the rest of them, is that they're divisive on the issues.
Yeah.
I
I
never
think Alex
hear.
Jones has a lot more credibility than Sean Hannity.
Oh, I would give Alex great guy. I've known, I lived in Austin. We were, yeah.
I think I think that Alex has had to use this colloquially, he's had a come to Jesus moment.
I think
He's
he's had a couple.
realized, oh shit, I better get my stuff together, and I can't just be yelling and screaming and saying everything that comes to my head. He's realized, ooh, everything I say gets dissected and dissected and dissected. So I think that Alex is back on the train, and maybe he's got off the crazy train. He's just on the train now.
I remember Alex when he was on free cable access, and the stunts he was doing down in Austin. I mean, but the guy was an activist.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about him.
Yeah.
I didn't see Sean Hannity ever being on the street as an activist.
Sean Hannity is bought and paid for by the fear and guilt control matrix.
He gets $1 million plus annual contract. That's good.
Wow.
Who's going to walk away from that?
Yeah, and who's going to say anything bad about your controllers?
Yeah. Shepard Smith is $1 million a month.
But look at people like Rogan and people like Jericho and people like Alex Jones. They don't have these big salaries. They got to keep producing in order to keep getting paid.
Yeah. They don't have
independence.
That's the difference. I mean, the whole political thing we're coming into, which is going to be the crazy season. I always say this, they always are complaining about Trump's wealth, but yet you look at the top 6 on the Democrats, they're all millionaires too.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going,
and the amazing thing is they've built multi-million-dollar nest eggs on, $80,000 a year jobs. How in the world have they done that? They must all be brilliant investors, or they're crooks, one or the other. I think you know the answer to that.
Well, let's see. Clinton came in broke, left out a 10 millionaire. Obama came in broke, walked out nearly 100 millionaire. Yeah, I can go through all of them. And
it's like, can we get rich? Yes, we can.
See, no one says about Trump.
Thank you, Satan.
He'd still donate. He doesn't take a paycheck.
Obama took every damn penny they gave him.
More.
He's like,
still does.
Thank you, Satan.
Oh,
when that here, yes, we can. If you play it backwards, it sounds exactly like, thank you, Satan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Satan.
But see, we it doesn't have anything to do with character, but it's the fact, he doesn't. So,
if you give Obama benefit of the doubt, he came in there wanting to make change and saw that he couldn't, and he just said, okay. And, Trump comes in there like some would say a bull in a china cabinet, only it's really a bull in a china. That's a little inside joke, but Trump is just in there destroying stuff. That's exactly what we need. We need someone to just come in there and burn it all to the ground, and let's start over.
And even that idiom is wrong, because Mythbusters proved it. You can put a bull in a china cabinet room, and it
in
will
a china
not,
shop.
In a china shop, and it will not turn over the china.
Wayne, are you telling me that a bull in a china shop would not turn anything over?
Yeah, they actually set up the, wasn't an actual china shop, but the same course that the bull went into. And the bull was as graceful as a ballerina.
So he just walked around there and didn't knock anything over?
did not knock anything over. Go and check that out on Mythbusters. It's there.
Yeah, but put him in a china cabinet and it's a different story.
Well, they put him in the same constraints, but the fact
He
is,
couldn't even fit in a china cabinet. That's
the China shop.
Yeah,
They're very graceful.
that's interesting.
You know, ever ride a bull?
No, I've never ridden a bull.
I neither have I, but I've had a
I've
friend.
run from a bull before.
I've had a friend that was on the PBA, and those animals, 2,000 pounds, they can turn on a dime.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive.
Yeah. But in any case,
And we may end up, before Trump is out of office too, seeing where some of this money trail is, why some of these politicians that are so for open borders, there's reasons they're open for borders, and they got nothing to do with little brown boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. It's got to do with green dollars.
Every one of them
paid. They're into the drug cartels. They're into the coyote cartels. They're getting paid, cousin. Don't think for a second they're not.
Yeah, I know a story on the Speaker of the House's daughter that the story was literally erased.
Yep.
Literally erased.
That's why they hate Trump, because they know it. They can't just vote him out of office. They have to destroy him. They've got to destroy all of his credibility, because he now has access to all that stuff. And oh man, it's so beautiful. He's going to use it to make him get straight. It's going to be interesting. Somebody says Trump is the bull.
He may very well be.
And you know what happens, Wayne, if you mess with the bull?
You're going to get the horn.
You're going to get the horn.
And down in Texas, they got longhorns.
They do.
Well,
it's going to be fun for the next 5 years. Let's put it that way.
I am waiting for the fact, I often wonder, how is it that Comey, Rosenstein, who was Stork, the rest of them, I still don't understand how they can simply escape justice when they were actually involved in a coup.
Yep.
Admitted.
Yep.
I sit here baffled on that. I don't understand how is that, but I got a sense that Trump I think he's got a surprise for him.
I think he definitely has a surprise for him. And did we talk about this last time, where he keeps talking about shooters and mental health?
No.
If you go all the way back to Parkland, all of these school shootings and these mass shootings, Trump has been hitting on it's mental health. We got to remember, it's mental health. These people are mentally ill.
Yeah.
And if he can, and some people, this scares people, and I can understand why it scares people, but think about it. Every one of these shooters, it's verified, they all have long histories in mental health facilities, psychotropic drugs. And if Trump could get it passed, and I don't know if he could do it with an executive order or not, where you couldn't buy firearms if you have a history of mental illness or psychotropic drug use. He's just removed all of MK Ultra type people's fodder. You can't groom. You can't keep these people in mental institutions and train them for years and years and years, and then give them guns because they can't get them. Because the whole narrative is, they buy them legally. Well, they wouldn't be able to buy them legally, and now he's removed all of their stooges. I think
I don't have a problem with that. I think.
But if they declare you or me mentally ill because we have a YouTube channel, that would be another thing.
Well, but there has to be checks and balances. I mean, Colorado, we have the red flag law here. It has been challenged in court. I'm sure it will be. I live in a very conservative county, but our county sheriff is one who was promoted this. And I don't have a problem with this. I mean, if you got mentally unstable people, I wouldn't give them dynamite. I wouldn't give a drunk a keys to my car.
And Camel Tube is on it because he is hinting to the MK Ultra people, I know what you're doing and I'm coming for you.
Well, that makes him a threat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I mean, if you've ever been involuntarily confined to a mental facility, or if you spent more than 3 months there, I'm sorry, but you probably shouldn't have a gun.
Well, indeed. I mean, and if you're taking psychotropic drugs, and
you don't need a gun.
Come on, folks, that's just common sense.
Yeah, and I wouldn't call that censorship. I wouldn't call that violating the Second Amendment. I'm not going to get all worried about that, and that's okay.
It's interesting. You talked about Kansas last time, but Kansas does have open carry. I didn't realize this. And
Kansas does have open carry.
yeah, and they just recently showed where a cop actually pulled over a citizen who was open carry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have to have a conceal and carry license. And I still say that that is one of the best countermeasures. You don't want to give the criminals and the insane ones the guns.
Well, we've already
God.
seen that the best place to commit a atrocity is in a gun-free zone. We've already proven that.
Yeah,
Why don't we go the other way and see how that works?
Yeah, I mean, you won't have any of these theater shootings when you don't realize that everyone sitting there is probably carrying a gun.
I mean,
Come on.
If I'm going to do one of those things, I'm not going to do it in a place where I know that a lot of these people probably got guns are going to be shooting back.
You see, and here's what I say to my Democrats who want to make the voting age to 16. So you're going to give a 16-year-old the same privilege of carrying a gun?
Exactly.
Are you crazy?
Yeah, but a vote can be more dangerous than a gun.
It is always more dangerous. Votes have killed more people than any gun has ever done. Oh, that's rhymes.
True. That's true.
Did you hear that?
And what did Trump say? He says it's not the gun that pulls the trigger. It's the mental illness, and he said something else. Another type of person. That is interesting.
Well, I still contend you can't feed a young mind that's developing these video games where the only goal in the game is killing.
Yeah, Trump mentioned those too. And would it really be bad if some of the worst of these violent games were banned? Would that be bad? I mean, that's censorship. But
no, it's not.
I have a hard time arguing against it.
We got R-rated movies that you can't get into.
Oh, that's true. Unless you're, that's true.
You got alcohol.
Put a rating system on the games.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is bad, and we're reaping the repercussions of this. You've got a generation who's grown up on this crap. All they know is these video games and killing.
Somebody says 3D printers can make guns. That's true, but how many people have access to a 3D printer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one.
You can't really go buy one, can you?
I think you can. $20,000.
Yeah, but exactly. Who's going to buy it? What do they print with? What is it made out of?
It's plastic.
Okay, it's like a resin type thing.
Resin, yep.
Interesting.
I mean, they've actually now getting to the point with these printers of organs.
Oh man, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
I like this. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
But let's see, Zorak says they do have a rating system for years. That's the problem, Zor. They don't apply to it. Parents go out and buy it. Why? Because parents love the fact that it babysits for them.
Exactly. So parents have to take some responsibility.
Now you've got the parents who grew up on the games now indoctrinating their children into the same process. Yeah, okay.
I got to get out of here, Wayne, and head south. But I thought it was one of the funniest things. We're with Eddie Bravo and Sam Tripoli at the comedy club in St. Louis, and somebody gave Bravo a hat that looked like a "Make America Great Again" hat, and Bravo's like, "What the hell?" And then he read the hat. It said, "Make Earth Flat Again." That was brilliant.
Outstanding. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, safe travels back home.
Thank you, sir.
Speak favor over you and peace, and see that you have an uneventful ride home.
Absolutely, or at least let all the events be pleasant.
Yeah, the Orbs have stopped, but holy cow, man! I tell you, the beginning of this one. This is what I'm going to title this one on my channel. The Orbs are flying.
There we go. It's an Orb
beautiful,
radio.
Brother. It was beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'll check that out.
All right, my friend.
Wayne, it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure for
Jeffrey.
you in the chat room as well to be here. We appreciate it so much. And until next week, Wayne, favor upon you and have a great week.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Jeffrey.
And we'll talk to you all soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.